Bush has confirmed that there will be a pause in the reduction of troops in Iraq once the initial drawdown is completed in July. Bush was speaking in the wake of a testimony from the top US commander in Iraq, General David Petraeus, who recommended a 45-day strategy review before any more troops are pulled out.
The recommendation likely to receive the most attention is on troop levels. General Petraeus has reported that security conditions have improved enough to withdraw all 5 surge brigades by the end of July. That means that by July 31st, the number of U.S. combat brigades in Iraq will be down by 25% from last year. Beyond that, General Petraeus says he'll need time to consolidate his forces and assess how this reduced American presence will affect conditions on the ground before making measured recommendations on further reductions. And I've told him he'll have all the time he needs. Some have suggested that this period of evaluation will be a pause. That's misleading, because none of our operations in Iraq will be on hold. Instead, we will use the months ahead to take advantage of the opportunities created by the surge and continue operations across the board. All our efforts are aimed at a clear goal: a free Iraq that can protect its people, support itself economically, and take charge of its own political affairs. No one wants to achieve this goal more than the Iraqis themselves. Those who say that the way to encourage further progress is to back off and force the Iraqis to fend for themselves are simply wrong. The Iraqis are a proud people who understand the enormity of the challenges they face and are anxious to meet them. But they know that they still need our help until they can stand by themselves.
Well, to discuss Bush's comments a little further, we're now joined from Amman by Abdulhay Zalloum. He's the author of Oil Crusades, America Through Arab Eyes. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. George Bush says the war isn't endless, security is improving, the economy is improving. What do you think people in Iraq and in the wider Arab world will make of his comments?
Well, actually, the credibility of what the Bush administration says in the Middle East is very low indeed. To start with, this war was started on false pretenses, so anything that follows to justify this unjust war is unjustifiable.
By false pretenses, you mean the widespread speculation that the only reason the US invaded Iraq was because of oil?
Well, yes, it is actually the reason why the United States invaded Iraq. You could sum it up in 3 important points. One, the United States is running out of energy, as Mr. Bush himself said in June 2001, and as everybody knows, when he said everybody in the United States must hear loud and clear that the United States is running out of energy resources. So here is one empire which has F-16s and fleets and this and that is running out of oil. And here is what they thought was an easy prey in Iraq, that Iraq by itself has more oil than North America and West Europe and most of Asia.
But Mr. Zalloum, if it was about oil, then their policy has backfired somewhat, because oil prices have gone up 300% since the invasion.
That is correct, because all this war was a miscalculation. To start with, initially, what they hoped for was, because Iraq has 18 fields from which there are 18, these 18 fields has 112 billion barrels of oil, and it has another 62 untapped oil fields. And the oil team, I mean, when I say the oil team, the Bush administration really is an oil team. Bush is an oil man, a son of an oil man. Dick Cheney is an oil man. Condoleezza Rice, she came from Chevron board. But she had, so this team, they were hoping that in Iraq, once they can topple Saddam Hussein and be met by roses, they can develop the other fields and can have a transition period, let us say, at this critical time of the oil age. What I mean by the oil age, we are now at a point where it is the beginning of the end of the oil age, where we have reached the peak, and we have no way but to come down.
Okay.
So this is why you would find... Yeah.
Can I just ask about Iraq's future? Because obviously oil production and oil revenue is going to be crucial for Iraq's rebuilding. So President Bush was saying that Iraq's economy is improving. Is that the case, do you think?
I don't think so. For one thing, you see, what we can say now is this: in Iraq, you have chaos and nothing less. And I do not think that anybody in Iraq, including Mr. Petraeus himself and others, can predict beyond their nose. You know, I mean, every time they predict something, something else developed, because they came into this war not understanding really what Iraq is, not understanding the culture, and actually they thought it is to them a matter of life or death. The United States is running out of oil, and so the United States is an empire, and it needs the oil not only as an energy, but as an instrument to project its powers on others in this age of limited oil supplies that would continue to shift in favor of demand, where the formula between supply and demand will continue to favor the suppliers, because there is a peak. You know, like everything else goes in a cycle, and now we are at the point where you would find that, for example, the UK oil production started to come down. The Forties field oil production is coming down. Alaska is considerably down. Indonesia will be turning from an exporter into an importer, and so on. So I mean, these facts are not proclaimed; they're not made public, but they were actually the reason for the invasion of Iraq. Two things, or I could say three things, if I may. One, oil, so that the United States would maintain and control the last drop, and for itself. Two, so it can, you know, this is the age of globalization, which they call the age of interdependence.
Mr. Zalloum, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I would love to continue this discussion, but I'm afraid we're running short on time, so I'll have to interrupt you. But thank you very much indeed for your thoughts there. Abdulhay Zalloum speaking to us live from Amman in Jordan.